The envelope arrived on a Wednesday, plain white. No return address, no name, just my address typed in a font I didn't recognize. I almost threw it away, almost assumed it was junk mail, almost missed the moment that would shatter everything I thought I knew about myself, my family, my life. But something made me open it, something that felt like instinct, like fate, like the hand of God reaching down to remind me that the truth cannot be hidden forever. Inside was a single sheet of paper. A DNA test result, my name at the top, and a match I had never expected, a woman listed as biological mother, a woman I had never met, a woman my adoptive parents had told me was dead. My name is Sophia Marin, I'm 30 years old, and for 28 years, my adoptive parents hid my real identity, not out of malice, not out of cruelty, but out of fear, out of a desperate need to protect me from a truth they believed would destroy me. They told me I was adopted. Yes, they never lied about that, but they told me my biological parents had died in a car accident when I was 2 years old, that there was no one else, that I was theirs and theirs alone, and I believed them because why? Wouldn't I? They were my parents. They had raised me, loved me, sacrificed for me, and I had no reason to doubt their word. But the DNA test told a different story. My biological mother was alive, living in a town 3 hours away, and she had been searching for me for years. She had submitted her DNA to the database hoping that one day I would do the same, hoping that one day I would want to know the truth, hoping that one day I would find her. Before I tell you what happened next, before I tell you about the confrontation with my adoptive parents, about the meeting with my biological mother, about the secret that changed everything, I need you to do something. Hit like if you've ever questioned where you come from. Subscribe if you believe that the truth always finds a way, and drop a comment with your location and local time. I want to know where the seekers are watching from tonight. Let me take you back to the beginning, to the childhood I thought I knew, to the parents I thought I could trust, to the lie that had been hiding in plain sight for 3 decades. I grew up in a small town in Oregon, the kind of town where everyone knows everyone, where neighbors leave their doors unlocked, where children play in the streets until the streetlights come on. My parents, Richard and Diane Marin, were teachers, respected, admired, beloved by their students and their community. They adopted me when I was 2 years old, brought me home from an agency in Portland, and raised me as their own. You're special, Sophia. You're our miracle. We waited so long for you, and we thank God every day that you came into our lives. Why didn't my birth parents want me, Mom? Why did they give me away? They loved you, baby. They loved you very much, but they couldn't take care of you. They were young, they were scared, and they wanted you to have a better life than they could give you. Do you know anything about them? Do you know their names, what they looked like, where they are now? They died, Sophia, a car accident, a few years after you were born. There's no one else, just us, just your father and me, and we love you more than anything in the world. I accepted her answer because I wanted to accept it, because I didn't want to believe that there was more to the story, because I didn't want to open a door that might lead to pain and confusion and loss. I was happy, I was loved, I was safe, and that was enough, or so I thought. I grew up, went to college, became a nurse, got married, had children, lived a normal life. The life my parents had dreamed for me, but there was always a part of me that wondered, a small, quiet voice that asked questions I couldn't answer. Who did I look like? Where did my talents come from? Why did I have this birthmark on my wrist? Why did I feel so connected to the ocean when no one in my family had ever been a sailor? You're so dramatic, Sophia. Not everything has to have a deeper meaning. Sometimes a birthmark is just a birthmark, and a love of the ocean is just a love of the ocean. I know, Mom, I know. But I can't help wondering, I can't help feeling like there's something missing, like there's a hole in my story that no one wants to fill. Your story is right here, Sophia, with us, with your father, with your children, with your husband. That's your story, and it's a beautiful story, and you don't need anything else. She was right, of course, I didn't need anything else. I had a beautiful life, a loving family, a fulfilling career, and I should have been satisfied, should have been grateful, should have been content. But the questions persisted, the voice grew louder, and eventually I couldn't ignore it anymore. I ordered the DNA test on a whim, a kit from one of those ancestry websites, the kind that promises to tell you where you came from, who your relatives are, what secrets your DNA holds. I spit in the tube, mailed it off, and forgot about it, until the results arrived, until the envelope came, until the world as I knew it shifted on its axis. The results were confusing at first. A list of relatives I had never heard of, second cousins, third cousins, distant connections that meant nothing to me, but at the top of the list, under close family, was a name I didn't recognize, Margaret Chin, listed as biological mother, with a 99.97% probability of being my parent. I stared at the screen, my hands shaking, my heart pounding, my mind racing. My biological mother was alive. She was out there. She had been searching for me, and she had found me, or I had found her, or maybe we had found each other. This can't be right. This must be a mistake. The test must be wrong. My parents told me she was dead. They said she died in a car accident. They said there was no one else. But the test wasn't wrong. The DNA didn't lie, and the woman listed as my biological mother was very much alive, waiting for me to reach out, waiting for me to ask the questions I had been too afraid to ask, waiting for me to discover the truth. I didn't tell my parents, not at first. Not until I had processed the information, not until I had decided what to do with it. I needed time to think, to breathe, to figure out who I was and what I wanted. I spent hours staring at the screen, reading and rereading the results, trying to make sense of something that made no sense at all. My husband, David, noticed that something was wrong, that I was distracted, distant, withdrawn. He asked me what was bothering me, and I told him everything: the test, the results, the name, the questions, the doubt. You need to talk to your parents, Sophia. You need to ask them why they lied, why they told you she was dead, why they kept this from you. I don't know if I can, David. I don't know if I'm ready to hear the answer. I don't know if I'm ready to confront them, to challenge them, to risk losing them. You won't lose them, Sophia. They love you. They've always loved you, and they'll understand why you need to know the truth, why you need to find out who you really are. What if the truth is worse than the lie? What if there's a reason they hid it? What if I'm not ready to hear it? Then you deal with it, you process it, you heal from it, but you don't run from it, because running from the truth is what they did, and it didn't make anything better. It just made everything harder. I drove to my parents' house on a Saturday, the same house where I had grown up, the same house where I had felt safe and loved and protected, the same house that now felt like a place of secrets and lies. They were sitting in the living room, watching television, my father in his recliner, my mother on the couch. They looked up when I walked in, surprised to see me, pleased, I think, that I'd come. Sophia, what a nice surprise. Why didn't you call? We would have made dinner, we would have. I need to talk to you, Mom. I need to ask you something, and I need you to tell me the truth, no matter how hard it is, no matter how much it hurts. My mother's face went pale. My father shifted in his chair. They knew. Somehow, they knew what was coming. They had been waiting for this moment, dreading it, preparing for it, hoping it would never come. What is it, baby? What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost. In a way, I have. I took a DNA test, Mom, an ancestry test, and the results came back. They say that my biological mother is alive, that she's been looking for me, that she's been waiting for me to find her. You told me she was dead. You told me she died in a car accident. Why did you lie to me? Why did you keep this from me? My mother started crying. My father reached for her hand, and the room fell silent, heavy with the weight of a truth that had been buried for 30 years. The silence in my parents' living room was deafening, the kind of silence that follows a death, a diagnosis, a disaster. When the world stops spinning and you can't breathe, and you can't think, and you can't feel anything except the crushing weight of the truth. My mother's tears fell silently. My father stared at the floor, and I sat on the edge of the couch, waiting, just waiting, for someone to explain, to justify, to tell me why the people I trusted most had lied to me for 30 years. Please, Mom, please tell me why. Tell me what happened. Tell me who she is. Tell me why you kept her from me. We were trying to protect you, Sophia. We were trying to protect you from her, from what she did, from who she was, from the pain she caused. What did she do, Mom? What was so terrible that you had to pretend she was dead? She gave you away, Sophia. She abandoned you. She left you on a doorstep like a stray kitten, and we couldn't let her do that again. We couldn't let her hurt you again. We couldn't let her back into your life. That's not an answer. That's not an explanation. That's not the truth. I need the truth, Mom. I need to know who she is, why she gave me up, why you lied. My father finally spoke, his voice quiet, heavy. The voice of a man who had been carrying a secret for too long and was finally ready to set it down. Your mother, your biological mother, her name is Margaret. She was 16 years old when you were born, a child herself, a scared, confused, desperate child who didn't know what to do. Her parents, your grandparents, were religious, strict, unforgiving, and when they found out she was pregnant, they kicked her out, disowned her, left her with nothing. So she gave me up, she put me in foster care, she abandoned me. No, Sophia, she didn't abandon you. She fought for you. She tried to keep you. She tried to raise you, but she was a child herself. She had no money, no home, no support, and social services determined that she was unfit, that you would be better off with a family who could provide for you, who could give you the life she couldn't. That's not what you told me. You told me she died. You told me there was no one else. You told me I was yours and yours alone. We were wrong, Sophia. We were so wrong. We thought we were protecting you. We thought we were saving you from the pain of knowing that your mother was out there, that she had chosen to give you away, that she didn't want you. But she did want me. She did want me, and you kept her from me. You kept me from her. You robbed us of 30 years. My mother reached for my hand, her fingers trembling, her touch tentative, afraid. We know, baby, we know, and we're sorry, we're so sorry. We thought we were doing the right thing. We thought we were protecting you, but we were wrong, and we've regretted it every day since. Did she ever try to contact me? Did she ever try to find me? Yes, she did. She wrote letters, she called the agency. She even showed up at our door once, years ago, when you were 10. We saw her through the window, your father and I, and we didn't answer. We pretended we weren't home. We told ourselves we were protecting you, but we were protecting ourselves, protecting our family, protecting our life with you. I pulled my hand away, stood up, walked to the window, stared out at the street, the same street where I had learned to ride a bike, where I had played with friends, where I had dreamed of the future, a future that was now uncertain, unstable, shattered. Where is she now? Is she still alive? Does she still want to see me? She's alive, Sophia. She's been living in Portland. She's a teacher. She never married, never had other children. She devoted her life to her students, to her work, to waiting for you. Waiting for me. She knew I would come. She knew I would find her. She hoped. She prayed. She never gave up. She always believed that one day you would want to know the truth, that one day you would find your way back to her. I left my parents' house that evening without saying goodbye, without hugging them, without telling them that I loved them. I couldn't, not yet, not until I had processed the betrayal, not until I had decided what to do with the information, not until I had figured out who I was and who I wanted to be. David was waiting for me at home. The children were in bed. The house was quiet. He took one look at my face and knew that something had happened, something important, something life-changing. Talk to me, Sophia. Tell me what happened. What did your parents say? They lied, David. They lied about everything. My biological mother is alive. She's been living 3 hours away for 30 years. She tried to contact me. She showed up at their door and they turned her away. They pretended they weren't home. They kept her from me. They kept me from her. Oh my God, Sophia, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Are you okay? What are you going to do? I'm going to find her, David. I'm going to meet her. I'm going to ask her the questions I've been asking my whole life, and I'm going to finally, after all these years, get some answers. Are you sure? Are you sure you're ready for this? Are you sure you're ready to open that door? I've been ready my whole life. I just didn't know it until now. I found Margaret's contact information through the DNA website, a profile with a photo, a short bio, a message that said, I am looking for my daughter. Sophia, if you are reading this, please contact me. I love you. I've always loved you, and I've never stopped hoping that one day we would find each other. I stared at the photo, a woman in her late 40s with kind eyes and a warm smile, a woman who looked like me, who had my eyes, my smile, my birthmark on her wrist, the same birthmark I had. The one my mother said was just a birthmark, not a clue, not a connection, not a link to a past I had never known. Hi, Margaret, my name is Sophia. I think I'm your daughter. I took a DNA test, and the results said that we're a match. I'd like to meet you if you're willing. I'd like to get to know you. I'd like to learn about you, about my past, about where I come from. I pressed send before I could change my mind, before the fear could take over, before the doubts could creep in, and then I waited, minutes that felt like hours, hours that felt like days, until finally, a response appeared on my screen. Sophia, Oh my God, I've been waiting for this message for 30 years. I've been hoping, praying, dreaming that one day you would find me, that one day you would want to know me, that one day we could be together. Yes, 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 I want to meet you. I want to get to know you. I want to be part of your life. Please tell me when and where, and I'll be there. We met at a coffee shop in Portland, neutral ground, a place where we could talk without interruption, without judgment, without fear. I arrived early, nervous, anxious, my hands shaking, my heart pounding, my mind racing through possibilities, questions, fears. Margaret arrived a few minutes later. She was more beautiful than her photo. Her eyes were kind, her smile was warm, her presence was calming. She walked toward me, her hands outstretched, her eyes wet with tears. Sophia, you're even more beautiful than I imagined. You have your father's eyes, his smile, his spirit. I see him in you. Every day, every moment, every breath. My father? What about my father? Who is he? What happened to him? Your father was my high school sweetheart. His name was David. He loved you. He loved me. He wanted to raise you, to be a family, but his parents sent him away to a military school, to keep him from me, to keep him from you. He died when you were 3 in a car accident. He never knew that I tried to keep you, that I fought for you, that I never stopped loving either of you. I started crying, the tears coming fast, hot, uncontrollable, the grief of 30 years of loss, of longing, of unanswered questions, pouring out of me like a river breaking through a dam. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry you lost him. I'm sorry you lost me. I'm sorry you had to go through all of that alone. You don't have to be sorry, Sophia. None of it was your fault. You were a child, an innocent, a victim of circumstances beyond anyone's control, and I'm just grateful, so grateful, that we finally found each other, that we finally have a chance to know each other, to love each other, to be a family. We sat in that coffee shop for hours, talking, crying, laughing, sharing the stories of our lives, the years we had lost, the moments we had missed, the dreams we had dreamed. Margaret told me about her childhood, her parents, the church that had turned its back on her when she needed them most, the friends who had abandoned her, the teachers who had tried to help, the social workers who had decided that she was unfit, that I would be better off with a family who could provide for me, who could give me the life she couldn't. I fought for you, Sophia. I fought so hard. I went to court. I hired a lawyer. I begged the judge to let me keep you, but they said I was too young, too poor, too unstable. They said you deserved better, and maybe they were right. Maybe you did deserve better, but it didn't make it hurt any less. I don't think they were right, Margaret. I think they were wrong. I think you would have been a wonderful mother. I think you would have loved me, protected me, sacrificed for me, just like my adoptive parents did, but differently, in your own way, with your own strengths, your own gifts. I like to think so. I like to think that I would have been enough, that I would have given you a good life, a happy life, but I'll never know, will I? I'll never know what might have been. Maybe not, but we have now, we have the present, we have each other, and that's something that's more than we had yesterday, more than we had last week, more than we had for 30 years, and I'm grateful for that, so grateful. She reached across the table, took my hand, held it tight, and I felt a connection I had never felt before, a bond that transcended time and distance and circumstance, the bond between a mother and a daughter, finally, after all these years, restored. The weeks that followed were a blur of phone calls, text messages, emails, and visits. I introduced Margaret to my husband, my children, my friends, and they welcomed her with open arms, with curious eyes, with questions that I couldn't always answer, questions about the past, about the future, about the woman who had given birth to me and then been forced to let me go. Is she going to be my other grandma, Mommy? Is she going to come to my birthday party? Is she going to buy me presents? Yes, sweetheart. She's going to be your other grandma. She's going to come to your birthday party. She's going to buy you presents, and she's going to love you, just like I love you, just like your other grandma loves you. Why didn't we know about her before? Why didn't you tell us? Why did you keep her a secret? Because I didn't know about her, baby, because I thought she was dead, because my parents, your grandparents, told me she had died in a car accident when I was a little girl, and I believed them because I had no reason not to, but I was wrong. She wasn't dead. She was alive, and she was waiting for me, waiting for us, waiting to be part of our lives. Are you happy, Mommy? Are you happy that you found her? Yes, baby, I'm happy. I'm so happy. I'm happier than I've ever been, because now I know where I come from, who I am, and who I can become. My relationship with my adoptive parents was strained, fragile, uncertain. I loved them. I knew they loved me, but the betrayal was fresh, the wounds were raw, and I didn't know how to heal them, how to move forward, how to forgive. We know you're seeing her, Sophia. We know you're spending time with her, and we want you to know that we support you. We want you to be happy. We want you to have a relationship with her, if that's what you want. It is what I want, Mom. It's what I've always wanted, even when I didn't know it, even when you told me she was dead, even when you kept her from me. I wanted her, I needed her, and I'm not going to let you take her away from me again. We're not trying to take her away from you, Sophia. We're trying to protect you, we're trying to help you, we're trying to be good parents, even when we make mistakes, even when we hurt you, even when we fail. I know, Mom, I know, and I love you both, but I need you to understand that what you did was wrong, that keeping her from me was wrong, that lying to me was wrong, and I need you to acknowledge that, to apologize, to make amends, before we can move forward, before we can heal. My mother started crying again, my father reached for her hand, and I watched them, these two people who had raised me, who had loved me, who had sacrificed for me, and I felt a surge of compassion, of understanding, of forgiveness, not because they deserved it, but because I needed to let go, because I needed to heal, because I needed to be free. Margaret and I started meeting regularly every week, sometimes more. We went to lunch, to the movies, to the park. We talked about our lives, our hopes, our dreams. She told me about her students, her friends, her volunteer work. I told her about my children, my husband, my job. We were building a relationship, slowly, tentatively, carefully, the way two people build something fragile and precious and new. Do you have any regrets, Margaret, about giving me up, about not fighting harder, about not keeping me? Every day, Sophia, every single day, I regret it. I regret not being stronger, not being braver, not being more persistent, but I also know that I did the best I could, with the resources I had, with the support I had, with the knowledge I had, and I hope that you can forgive me, that you can understand, that you can accept that I never stopped loving you, not for a single moment, not for a single day. I do forgive you, Margaret. I do understand, I do accept, because I'm a mother too, and I know that being a mother is hard, that it's messy, that it's complicated, and that sometimes the best we can do is not enough, but it's still the best we can do. You're wise, Sophia. Wiser than your years. Wiser than your mother. Wiser than anyone I know. I learned from you, Margaret. I learned from your sacrifice, your courage, your love, and I'm grateful, so grateful, that you gave me the chance to be who I am, to have the life I have, to love the people I love. The DNA test had revealed more than just Margaret's identity. It had revealed a network of relatives, cousins, aunts, uncles, grandparents, all of them eager to meet me, to welcome me into their lives, to make up for the years we had lost. I was hesitant at first, overwhelmed by the sudden influx of new faces, new names, new connections, but Margaret encouraged me to reach out, to explore, to embrace the family that had been waiting for me, unknowingly, for decades. Your grandmother, my mother, she wants to meet you, Sophia. She's been sick, she's been struggling, and she regrets the way she treated me, the way she treated you, the way she turned her back on us when we needed her most. She wants to make amends, to apologize, to be part of your life, if you'll let her. I don't know if I'm ready for that, Margaret. I don't know if I'm ready to forgive her, to accept her, to let her into my life, after everything she did to you, to me, to us. I understand, Sophia, I understand, and I'm not asking you to forgive her. Not yet, not until you're ready, but I am asking you to consider it, to think about it, to give her a chance, because she's old, she's sick, and she's running out of time, and I don't want you to have the same regrets I have, the same sorrows, the same what-ifs. I thought about her words, about the grandmother I had never known, about the pain she had caused, about the possibility of reconciliation, of healing, of forgiveness, and I decided, finally, that I would meet her, that I would give her a chance, that I would open my heart to the possibility of a new beginning. The letters became my treasure, my lifeline, my bridge to a past I had never known and a future I was only beginning to imagine. I read them over and over, each time finding something new, something hidden, something that spoke to my heart in ways I couldn't explain. My grandmother had been watching me from afar, had been loving me from a distance, had been waiting for the day when I would be ready to receive her love. And now, finally, after all these years, I was. I started visiting Eleanor more often, sometimes twice a week, sometimes more. We would sit in her room, looking out at the garden, watching the birds, listening to the wind. She couldn't speak clearly, couldn't move easily, couldn't do the things she had once done, but she could listen, she could love, she could be present, and that was enough, more than enough. I wish I had been braver, Sophia. I wish I had reached out sooner. I wish I hadn't let fear and pride and shame keep me from you. You're here now, Eleanor, that's what matters. You're here and I'm here, and we have time, we have each other, we have a chance to build something new, something different, something beautiful. Do you think you'll ever be able to forgive me? Do you think you'll ever be able to call me Grandma? I already forgive you, Eleanor. Not because you deserve it, not because I've forgotten, but because I'm tired of being angry, because I'm tired of carrying the weight of the past, because I'm tired of letting the mistakes of others define my future. And yes, I can call you Grandma, if that's what you want, if that's what feels right. She smiled, the first real smile I had seen on her face, and I smiled back, and for a moment, just a moment, the world felt right, the way it should have been all along, the way it might have been if fear and pride and shame had not gotten in the way. My relationship with my adoptive parents continued to evolve, to heal, to grow. We went to family therapy, talked through the betrayal, the lies, the pain. My mother cried, my father apologized, and I listened, really listened for the first time to their side of the story. We were wrong, Sophia. We know that now. We were so afraid of losing you, so afraid that if you knew the truth, you would choose her over us, that you would leave us, that you would stop loving us. I could never stop loving you, Mom. You're my parents, you raised me, you sacrificed for me. You gave me a life that I wouldn't have had otherwise. But you hurt me, you lied to me, and you need to understand that trust is earned, not given, and that it will take time for me to trust you again. We understand, Sophia, and we're willing to wait. We're willing to do whatever it takes to earn back your trust, to repair our relationship, to be the parents you deserve. Then let's start small, let's start with honesty, let's start with the truth. No more secrets, no more lies, no more trying to protect me from things I need to know. We can do that, Sophia. We can do that, we promise. It wasn't easy. The months that followed were hard, harder than anything I had ever done, but we kept at it, kept talking, kept listening, kept trying, and slowly, gradually, the wounds began to heal. The trust began to return. The love began to feel safe again. Margaret and I grew closer, the way mothers and daughters do when they've been separated for too long and are finally reunited. We talked every day, saw each other every week, celebrated holidays together, shared meals, shared stories, shared dreams. She was everything I had hoped she would be, kind, compassionate, strong, resilient, and I was grateful, so grateful, to have her in my life. Do you ever wonder what might have been, Margaret, if you had kept me, if we had grown up together, if we had been a family? Sometimes, Sophia, sometimes I wonder. But I try not to dwell on the past, because the past can't be changed, and the present is too precious to waste on regrets. We have each other now, and that's what matters. That's all that matters. I wish I had known you sooner. I wish I had grown up with you. I wish I had called you Mom from the beginning. You're calling me Mom now, Sophia, and that's enough. That's more than I ever dared to hope for. I love you, Mom. I love you too, Sophia. I've always loved you, and I always will. Eleanor died 6 months later, peacefully, in her sleep, the way she had lived, quietly, without fuss, without drama. I was holding her hand when she took her last breath. The sun was setting over the garden. The birds were singing, and I felt something break inside me, something that would never fully heal, but also something that was finally, after all these years, at peace. She's gone, Sophia, she's gone. I know, Margaret, I know, but she's not really gone. She's with us, in our hearts, in our memories, in the love she gave us, even when she didn't know how to show it. She loved you, Sophia. She loved you so much, and she was so proud of you, of the woman you've become, of the mother you are, of the life you've built. I know, Margaret, I know, and I'm grateful, so grateful, that I got to know her, that I got to forgive her, that I got to say goodbye. We sat together, mother and daughter, grandmother and granddaughter, holding each other, crying together, mourning together, healing together, and I knew, deep down, that Eleanor was with us, watching over us, loving us, the way she had always wanted to, the way she had always tried to, the way she had finally, at the end, learned to do. The funeral was small, the way Eleanor would have wanted, just family, just those who had loved her, just those who had known her. My adoptive parents came, Margaret came, my husband and children came, and I stood at the grave, watching them lower her casket into the ground, and I felt something I hadn't expected, not sadness, not relief, not regret, but a quiet acceptance that this chapter of my life was finally closed, and a new one was about to begin. Are you okay, Sophia? Are you okay? I'm okay, David. I'm okay. I'm sad, of course, but I'm also grateful. Grateful that I got to know her, grateful that I got to love her, grateful that I got to say goodbye. She was proud of you, she told me the last time I saw her. She said that you were the best thing that ever happened to her, that you gave her hope, that you gave her a reason to live. I didn't know that. I didn't know she felt that way. She did, Sophia, she did, and she wanted you to know, but she didn't know how to say it. She was afraid of being vulnerable, afraid of being rejected, afraid of being hurt, but she loved you. She loved you so much. Here's what I want you to know. If you're watching this and you see yourself in my story, the one who was adopted, the one who was lied to, the one who was kept from the truth, the one who had to fight to find out who she really was, hear me. You're not what they said you were. You are not the secret, the shame, the mistake. You are the one who survived, the one who kept searching, the one who found a way to the truth, not because you were given it, but because you earned it, because you fought for it, because you refused to let the lies define you. And survival is not pretty, it's not clean, it's not a movie where the credits roll and everyone lives happily ever after. Survival is messy. It's years of therapy and healing and learning to trust again. It's forgiving yourself for not being perfect, for not being strong enough, for not being fast enough, for not being enough. It's planting flowers in a garden and waiting for them to bloom. It's sitting on a porch and watching the sunset and letting go of the weight you've been carrying your whole life. But survival is also yours. No one can take it from you. Not the parents who lied to you, not the grandmother who abandoned you, not the family that didn't see you survived, and that is the only victory that matters. I forgave my adoptive parents, not because they deserved it, not because I had forgotten, but because I was tired of carrying their weight, tired of being defined by their mistakes, tired of letting their choices shape my life. Forgiveness was not for them. It was for me. It was the key that unlocked the door I had been trapped behind, the door that led to the garden, the ocean, the future. My name is Sophia Marin. I'm 30 years old. I have two mothers, one who raised me and one who gave birth to me. I have a grandmother who loved me from afar and finally learned to love me up close. I have a husband who supports me, children who adore me, and a life that is mine, not perfect, not easy, but mine. The DNA test changed everything, but it also gave me everything, the truth, the connection, the family I had always longed for, and I am grateful, so grateful, for the envelope that arrived on a Wednesday, for the woman who never stopped searching for me, for the parents who made mistakes but never stopped loving me, and for the grandmother who finally, at the end, found her way back to me. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever questioned where you come from, if you've ever searched for the truth, if you've ever had to fight to find out who you really are, leave a comment. Tell me, what did you survive? Thank you for listening. I'll see you next time. The nursing home was on the outskirts of Portland, a low, sprawling building with beige walls and fluorescent lights and the smell of antiseptic and old age. My grandmother, Eleanor, had been living there for 3 years, ever since her stroke, which had left her partially paralyzed and confined to a wheelchair, unable to speak clearly, unable to move easily, unable to escape the prison of her own body and the regrets of her own choices. Margaret walked beside me, her hand on my arm, her presence steady, grounding, reassuring. She had visited her mother every week for the past 3 years, despite everything, despite the betrayal, the abandonment, the years of silence. She had chosen forgiveness, had chosen compassion, had chosen to be the bigger person, and I admired her for it, even as I struggled to understand how she could forgive someone who had caused her so much pain. Are you ready, Sophia? Are you sure you want to do this? I don't know if I'm ready, Margaret. I don't know if I'll ever be ready, but I'm here, and I'm not going to run away. Not this time, not from her, not from the truth, not from the past. She's not the same woman she was, Sophia. She's older, weaker, more fragile, and she spent years regretting the choices she made, the words she said, the love she withheld. She's not asking for your forgiveness. Not yet. Not until she's earned it. But she is asking for a chance to explain, to apologize, to make amends. I can give her a chance, Margaret. I can give her that much. But I can't promise anything else. I can't promise that I'll forgive her, that I'll accept her, that I'll let her into my life. That's all she's asking, Sophia. That's all any of us can ask. Eleanor's room was at the end of the hall, a small, private space with a window that faced a garden, a bed that was adjustable, a chair that was comfortable. She was sitting in the chair when we entered, her hands folded in her lap, her eyes fixed on the door, waiting, hoping, praying. She looked older than I had imagined. Her hair was white, her face was lined, her body was frail, but her eyes were sharp, clear, alive, and when she saw me, when she saw Margaret, when she saw us together, she started to cry, tears streaming down her cheeks, her lips trembling, her hands reaching out. Sophia! Oh my God, Sophia! You're here. You're really here. I never thought I would see you. I never thought you would come. I never thought you would forgive me. I haven't forgiven you, Eleanor. Not yet. Not until I understand why you did what you did, why you turned your back on Margaret, why you abandoned me, why you let them take me away. I was wrong, Sophia. I was so wrong. I was scared. I was confused. I was brainwashed by a church that told me that Margaret was a sinner, that you were a product of sin, that we would all go to hell if we didn't repent. And I believed them. I believed them because I was weak, because I was frightened, because I didn't know how to be strong. You were her mother, Eleanor. You were supposed to protect her, to love her, to stand by her, no matter what, and you failed. You failed her and you failed me. I know, Sophia, I know, and I've regretted it every day for 30 years. I've prayed for forgiveness. I've begged God to give me another chance, to let me see you, to let me hold you, to let me tell you that I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Margaret sat down beside her mother, took her hand, held it tight. It's okay, Mom. It's okay. I've forgiven you. I forgave you a long time ago, not because you deserved it, but because I needed to let go, because I needed to heal, because I needed to be free, and I'm not going to let the past define us. Not anymore, not ever again. You're a better person than I am, Margaret. You always were. You're kind, you're compassionate, you're forgiving, and I don't deserve you. I don't deserve any of this. Maybe not, but I'm giving it to you anyway because you're my mother and I love you, and because I believe that people can change, that people can grow, that people can become better than they were if they're willing to try. I watched them, mother and daughter, reunited after years of estrangement, and I felt something shift inside me, something soften, something open, the anger, the resentment, the bitterness that had been festering for so long, beginning to dissolve, to fade, to release. I can't promise that I'll forgive you, Eleanor, not today, not tomorrow, not until I've had time to process, to reflect, to heal, but I can promise that I'll try, that I'll be open, that I'll give you a chance to prove that you've changed, that you're different, that you're worthy of a second chance. That's all I ask, Sophia. That's all I've ever wanted, a chance, just a chance. The weeks that followed were a journey of discovery, of healing, of reconciliation. I visited Eleanor every week, sometimes with Margaret, sometimes alone. We talked about the past, about the present, about the future. She told me stories about her childhood, about her marriage, about her regrets, her fears, her hopes. She told me about Margaret as a child, as a teenager, as a young woman, and I began to see her not as the villain of the story, but as a flawed, frightened, fallible human being who had made terrible choices and was trying, desperately, to make amends. I never stopped loving you, Sophia. I never stopped thinking about you, wondering about you, praying for you. I have a box of letters I wrote to you over the years, letters I never sent, letters I was too afraid to mail, letters that I kept hidden under my bed, waiting for the day when I would finally have the courage to reach out. Can I see them? Can I read them? Can I know what you were thinking, what you were feeling, what you were hoping? They're yours, Sophia. They've always been yours. I was just keeping them safe for you until you were ready, until you were willing, until you were able to receive them. She handed me a shoebox, worn, faded, tied with a ribbon, and I opened it, my hands shaking, my heart pounding, my eyes filling with tears. Inside were dozens of letters, each one dated, each one addressed to me, each one filled with love, with longing, with regret. Dear Sophia, today is your fifth birthday. I wonder what you look like, what you sound like, what you're doing. I hope you're happy. I hope you're healthy. I hope you know that I love you, that I've always loved you, that I never stopped loving you. Dear Sophia, today is your 10th birthday. I saw a little girl at the park who looked like you, who had your eyes, your smile, your spirit, and I cried because I missed you, because I wanted you, because I couldn't have you. Dear Sophia, today is your 16th birthday. I heard that you're doing well in school, that you're popular, that you're happy, and I was so proud, so grateful, so relieved that you had the life I couldn't give you. Dear Sophia, today is your 21st birthday. I know you're an adult now. I know you can make your own decisions, but I'm still afraid, still hesitant, still uncertain. What if you don't want to know me? What if you're angry? What if you hate me? I read each letter, one by one, the tears falling freely, the walls crumbling, the healing beginning.